By night, he was Santa Militia, a Venezuelan techno DJ spinning hard techno in London's underground clubs. By day, in a quiet garage in Surrey, he was forging the paperwork that put 60,000 uncertified parts into the engines of passenger jets you've flown on. His name is José Alejandro Zamora Yrala. His company was called AOG Technics, and according to the judge who sentenced him this February, what he did was, quote, a more or less complete undermining of a regulatory framework designed to safeguard the millions of people who fly every day of the year. Here's how one man with a PDF editor fooled the entire global aviation industry. AOG Technics was incorporated in February 2015 in Hove, East Sussex. For 3 years, it did almost nothing. A quiet, low-volume parts broker, shifting addresses, struggling to make sales. Zamora Yrala had picked up just enough industry knowledge from short stints at 2 real aviation firms, AJW Group and the UK arm of GE Telesis, to understand the one weakness nobody talked about: the paperwork. Every single component on a commercial aircraft needs a birth certificate, a turbine blade, a bushing, a 10-cent washer, all of it. In the United States, that certificate is FAA Form 8130-3. In Europe, EASA Form 1. They're legally equivalent. They travel with the part for its entire life. And here's the structural anomaly that makes this entire story possible. Those forms are open source PDFs. You can download them right now from a regulator's website. There is no central digital database, no real-time lookup, no cryptographic signature, none. When an airline buys a part, their quality team physically inspects it, then visually inspects the paper certificate that came with it. If the form looks complete, valid signature, matching part number, plausible inspector, the part gets installed. To actually confirm the certificate is real, you have to email or call the original manufacturer, quote the tracking number, and wait for a manual record search. In a supply chain where a grounded aircraft costs an airline up to $150,000 a day, that verification step gets skipped constantly. And there is a second hole, even bigger. Manufacturers and repair shops are subject to direct, unannounced audits by the FAA and EASA. But the brokers in the middle, the distributors, they're regulated by a voluntary self-policing program called FAA Advisory Circular AC 00-56. Private auditing firms get paid by the distributor to certify the distributor. Once you've got the stamp, you're listed as accredited, and the airlines treat you like you've been vetted. So Zamora Yrala bought genuine, expired, or low-value certificates from real transactions. He opened them in Adobe Acrobat. He changed part numbers. He changed descriptions. He turned cheap industrial components into high-value engine parts on paper. He forged the signatures of real Safran and GE inspectors. When those inspectors retired, he kept using their names. To make AOG Technics look like a global enterprise, he invented employees, a sales manager named Catherine, other fictional quality managers, each with a LinkedIn profile, each built from stock photos. He listed offices in Miami, Singapore, Frankfurt, and London. None of them existed. And to clear the accreditation hurdle, he hired a private auditing firm called Transonic Aviation Consultants, who performed superficial audits and issued him a quality standard certificate. He posted it on his website. Starting January 1st, 2019, the sales exploded. Over the next 4 years, AOG Technics shipped more than 60,000 individual parts into the global commercial supply chain. Total revenue, £7.7 million. Of that, $6.9 million, 90%, came from fraudulent sales. The unraveling started on July 25th, 2023. At TAP Maintenance and Engineering in Portugal, technicians were rebuilding a GE CF6 engine when they noticed something off about a small part. A bushing, GE part number 1856M94P01. It didn't fit right. It showed wear, even though the paperwork said it was factory new from Safran. The next day, TAP called Safran to verify the tracking number on the EASA Form 1. Safran searched. The tracking number was fake. The signature was forged. Safran called the regulators. On August 4th, EASA and the UK Civil Aviation Authority issued emergency suspected unapproved parts notices. On September 21st, the FAA followed with its own unapproved parts notification. Then the audits began. Southwest found AOG supplied turbine blades in its CFM56 engines. Virgin Australia found uncertified blades and nozzle seals. United found compressor stator vanes. By the end of September, 126 commercial passenger aircraft were grounded worldwide. On October 4th, CFM International, the joint venture between GE Aerospace and Safran, won a London High Court injunction forcing AOG Technics to hand over every transaction record. That's when the true scale became visible. December 6th, 2023. The UK Serious Fraud Office raided Zamora Yrala's home in Surrey at dawn. They seized his iPhone. What was on that phone became the most damning evidence in the case. His Google search history included, quote, "When you edit a PDF, can you hide that it has been changed?" and aviation company faking aviation parts certs, and aviation company dissolved after finding that was selling dodgy parts. The financial damage was already cascading. American Airlines hadn't bought from AOG directly. They'd bought through other brokers who'd bought from AOG. In total, the SFO traced 47,407 individual parts across 158 invoices, worth £4.38 million across the affected airlines. American Airlines alone took a £23 million hit. GE Aerospace lost $3 million in audit and legal costs. Safran, $580,000. Ethiopian Airlines, one of the few carriers to buy directly from AOG, had wired over £1.1 million into Zamora Yrala's accounts. The SFO's conservative total, £39.3 million in industry damage, and that's just the parts they could trace. On December 1st, 2025, at Southwark Crown Court, Zamora Yrala pleaded guilty to fraudulent trading under Section 993 of the Companies Act 2006. On February 23, 2026, Mr. Justice Simon Pickens sentenced him to 4 years and 8 months in prison, 8 years disqualified as a company director. The judge called the offending reckless at best and utterly inexcusable. The SFO's Director of Operations, Emma Luxton, put it like this: Zamora's operation risked public safety on a global scale in a way that defies belief. But here's what should keep you up. The SFO traced 47,407 parts. AOG sold more than 60,000. That leaves over 12,000 parts the investigators never accounted for. Some of those parts are probably still flying. The industry's response came in February 2024. Airbus and Boeing, direct competitors, joined American, Delta, United, GE Aerospace, and Safran to form the Aviation Supply Chain Integrity Coalition. Their main proposal? Kill the paper Form 8130-3. Replace it with a cryptographically signed digital certificate that can't be edited in Adobe Acrobat by a man in a garage. In April 2024, the FAA stripped Transonic Aviation Consultants of its accreditation status. The voluntary distributor program is being reworked, but the conditions that made AOG Technics possible haven't gone anywhere. The post-COVID parts market is so starved that almost new A320neos are being torn apart just to harvest their engines, which are worth more as spares than the airframes are whole. In early 2026, EASA issued another alert. 12 shipping containers of non-airworthy turbofan parts, including life-limited turbine discs and bearings, were stolen from a Spanish facility. The thieves had impersonated waste disposal contractors. Those parts are out there, right now, somewhere in the supply chain. Zamora Yrala is in prison. His DJ decks are quiet, but the system he exploited, the paper certificate, the voluntary audit, the trust that the form in the box matches the part in the box, that system is still how the plane you board tomorrow is certified to fly. The next time you hand your boarding pass to the gate agent, somewhere in the engine above your head, there is a part, and somewhere there is a piece of paper that says that part is safe. Somebody, at some point, trusted that paper.